Dr. Amar Singh. And we all have industrial leaders and presidents of associations who are among us. And without wasting much time, we'll come to the agenda of today's meeting. And I'll request our worthy president, CICU, Upkar Singh Ahuja ji, to welcome the dignitaries and give a PPT about CICU activities that has taken place in the last couple of months.
Good evening, everybody. Sorry for the delayed session because today was a very hectic day. Most of the friends you were there at the exhibition, and our dignitaries also, they visited various factory and they were back here quite late. So we are thankful to all our dignitaries for the hectic day and sparing their time for this event. I welcome Sir Amar Singh ji, our own member parliament, on this for sparing his time for this event. We welcome Mr. Ricardo A. Berna. We welcome Ms. Juliana Samba for this event. We welcome Mr. Oscar Sikand, Commercial Councillor, Embassy of Namibia. We welcome Mr. Solomon, Consular Embassy of Niger. So we have with us most of the eminent person, the countries, those are importing from Punjab, and these are the developing countries, and there is quite a large scope for increasing the export. So I will not spend much time. We will introduce a short introduction about CICU, about the city and our competitiveness. So that is the main agenda for today's meeting. Sir, our chamber is 50-year-old chamber, and we are having 1200 direct members and 13,000 indirect members. Approximate 30 associations are affiliated to us, like fasteners, hand tools, and there are so many other associations. So we are a umbrella organization. We represent almost all the industries in Ludhiana. We are a non-profit making organization, and we are a registered society. So we have got so many awards, like first position as responsible business membership organization by MSME Cluster, National Accreditation Board for Education, and Ministry of Commerce and Export, and world level recognition, being member of the leading chamber. About the Ludhiana city, because our dignitaries visited the Ludhiana first time. We are far from the seaport and we are far from the iron ore. And normally people ask that how the industry exists here. So because of the post-partition 1947, the local people here were very strong in metal working and manufacturing. And the refugees came from the Pakistan, they were enterprising. So both collaborated and industry flourished in this area. And this is one of the cluster by default and a rare example in the country. We are largest hub for bicycle manufacturing. 50% of Indian bicycles are produced here. This city has more than 95,000 registered MSME. And in Punjab there are 1.6 lakh MSME. So it is quite a low cost source, and you can source direct from manufacturers. It will save your cost, it will reduce the product price in your country, it will reduce the inflation in your country. So CICU is having a very strong young business leader forum. We organize B2B exposure, interviews between the industry and the institutes. We enable skill development for youth. We have a calibration lab where we do the testing calibration for MSME at very competitive price. And we have tried to nurture our MSME in this state, and I think the developing countries, they can learn a lot. Maybe they can send a delegation or some government bodies. That's how we have developed the MSME. So this is the pie chart of our members. We have members from almost all the segments. Auto, the service.
I'll request Park Plaza staff. Varun, are you there? Varun, please discontinue this service immediately. Please immediately. You know the decorum also, na? Otherwise also you discontinue. When the meeting starts, there should not be any service. Please do it.
We are from auto, tractor, farm part. We have members from woolen and garment, yarn. I think 95% of the woolen garments in the country, they are produced in Ludhiana. We manufacture cycle and cycle parts, even 99% bicycle made in Punjab. Engineering goods, we are very strong. We can help these countries in setting up maybe effluent treatment plants or other amenities at a very competitive price. Hand tools, you have seen in the exhibition our strength. Food products, sports goods, leather goods, handicraft, and many more. So CICU is having around, we did 140 activities in a post-COVID. And in COVID also we were quite activity. We do training program, industrial interaction workshop, tournaments and competition, delegations, factory visit, exhibition, cluster development, job fairs. So this is our activities during the COVID time. So Punjab is first to start the industry on 29th March. Lockdown start 22nd March and we restarted the industry with the COVID guideline and there was no casualty in the industry. So that is our strength of Punjab. And later on all the country adopted the same pattern. So we have because of COVID, traveling was short. So we started this page, Make in Ludhiana. So anyone need any product worldwide, they can post here and he can get the answer in seconds. And even technical advice, anyone wants, he gets the reply in second. And this is having around 20,000 members in 3 months. We do recreation activities, lot of recreation activities. This is a woman forum. We have a women dignities also. So we have a quite strong women forum. So I think we can collaborate and we are trying to strengthen the women workforce in the factories also and entrepreneurs also in the industry. So we got many awards from the government for providing jobs and for green manufacturing. I will not spend much of the time because we are, I think, already delayed by 45 minutes. So, business in India and Punjab. So, why should you should buy from India? What is our strength? I will try to describe in 1 or 2 slides. Like Punjab, India government has started post-COVID many policies which will strengthen the industry in the Asian countries. And we will be most competitive and we will be trustworthy also. I will not name any country, but we have seen that some countries, they don't honor the intellectual property rights, they don't have the set rules, but in terms of rules and terms of transparency, India is very strong. So that is one of the good reasons for the buying from India and Punjab. Government has also announced policies like NMP, National Manufacturing Policy, PLI, 10 sectors are being promoted. Government already announced for mobiles and electronics. Other industry will also follow soon. And on Member Parliament is also sitting. He is already supportive. And even the local government is supplying power at competitive price, peaceful labor relation, one-stop clearance system, robust infrastructure, skilled human capital. There is no unions or strikes in our part of the country. And shipping we have 12 major and 182 non-major ports handled. And railway is very strong, road network is very strong. Aviation, we are getting a new airport soon, which will be easy to travel to Ludhiana. So, pride of Punjab is auto components, agriculture implements, bicycle and bicycle parts, cotton and ginning, electrical goods, hand tool, IT, pharmaceutical, rubber goods, sports goods, yarn and textile. These are the prominent 10 sectors. But you can name anything in engineering industry, textile, yarn, or handicraft and many more. And you will get a product manufacturer in Punjab. We are having 1,92,000 MSME in Punjab. Punjab is also good in ease of doing business, is one of the prominent state for ease of doing business. Robust infrastructure, you have seen that we have reasonable infrastructure compared to other parts of the country. I come to my last slide, that how we can add value to each other. So we request the dignitaries and ambassadors of various countries that B2B meeting from respective countries should be arranged. Maybe next, we have declared the date of next exhibition. It is in February 2022. We request to bring some delegation from your country so that we can increase the trade and also promote Make in Punjab products. Promotion of our, we will email you and have hand over the hard copy of the directory also, so you can promote these products in your countries. We can support you in skill development and training, because lot of students you have seen today in the exhibition hall also, and there are some good universities which are providing training to the students. So you can send your students to Punjab for teaching. And skill development CICU members, and we have our own skill development center. And Punjab is having lot of skill development centers. So students, those are not able to get the degrees, engineering degrees, they can come to skill development centers in training. And CICU can facilitate, provided you have to pass the visa regulation as per Indian government. We can support you in technical assistance also, because lot of manufacturers are there and they are very strong engineers. So if you need to set up some project in your country, so CICU members can support you in that. So if you are setting up some technical center, turnkey projects like water, sewerage, solar energy plants and many more, so we can work together. Our members can also collaborate and joint venture. If someone from your country, recently there are many joint ventures with the African countries for making of furniture, for making of knitwear products, for making of t-shirts. So these type of project we can provide you, our members can provide you on turnkey basis. Information exchange of import-export requirement. So you get many requirement from your country, so you pass on to us so that we can disseminate to our members and they can get business. Our young business leader forum is also very strong. If some of the youngsters want to learn something from our country, they can visit us, and our members can also visit your country. With these words, I will close my presentation. Thank you very much for giving me a patient ear.
Thank you, Upkarji. As Upkarji mentioned about Ludhiana industry, it is actual ease of doing business is happening here in Ludhiana in Punjab. Least government interference, best form of help and guidance from Punjab government. So we can always think of, you can always give it a thought for telling your entrepreneurs, telling your government to have a collaboration in any part of the state. And talking about historical relations between India and Africa, mostly east of Africa, we have long which has surpassed, as per the last 10 years records. And India is fourth largest trade partners of Africa. Africa's main exports to India are crude oil, gold, coal and other minerals, whereas India primarily exports refined petroleum products and pharmaceuticals. So we can jointly, looking at the demand and supply between our demand and your demand, so many ventures can be worked on. Then two of these two, pharmaceuticals and refined petroleum products, they make 40% of total exports to African countries. And Indo-African Chamber plays vital role, that which we all understand. And the embassies are also playing active role. Indo-African Chamber and then India, UNECA, Economic Commission for Africa. That it has forecast simplification of border controls and the reduction in duties of AFCTFA. This is going to boost intra-regional trade by 52% in the coming 5 years. Initiatives by Indian government to boost is through DFTP, duty-free tariff revenue for LDCs, that is the least developed countries. And India actually is a progressive and developing country now. In the second leg of today's event, we have two eminent speakers who will speak about India-African relations and how India and Africa trade can boost. The first of speakers I'll invite our Joint Secretary, Mr. J.S. Bogle, to please come and give his presentation. Mr. J.S. Bogle has a rich experience of exporting agricultural implements, agricultural parts to almost every country in the world. With these words, I will request Mr. J.S. Bogle to give a presentation.
Good evening to everyone. I again extend a warm welcome to Mr. Ricardo, Chief Mission Embassy of Panama, Ms. Juliana Samba Banda, First Secretary High Commission Malawi, Mr. Oscar Sikanda, Commercial Counselor Embassy of Namibia, Mr. Suleiman Boremia, Consular Embassy of Niger. Welcome once again and extend a warm welcome on behalf of CICU, and we are very proud of our city Ludhiana and on behalf of all the Ludhianese. I will just step back into a bit of history. Pankaj mentioned something in that context. The Indian-African relations go a long way. The father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi, we all know, had a very strong link with South Africa, and rest is history. And today we enjoy the freedom that our leaders over the years who went through all the travails to get us where we are. Again, Indo-African relationships, there's a lot of commonality. First, let's talk about people. I think one of the biggest factors that the African continent and India have is the people. We are rich in culture, we have a lot of similarities, we have a lot of talent, we have a lot of good brains, and again, as a race, we are considered a very hard-working race and population of the world. Both India and Africa are very, I would say, rich in a lot of natural resources besides the people and human talent. Pankaj mentioned something on minerals, on metals, oil, food products. I think both India and Africa dwell on a lot of these common, I would say, natural resources that we have. Very few people think or know that Africa as a continent is a very green continent. There's a lot of potential for a lot of industries. And in the last decade, I would say, a lot has gone into the infrastructure development, again in both Africa and India, the governments of all African nations, be it North Africa, Central Africa, East Africa, West Africa and South Africa, have really worked towards the development of infrastructure and of course health and education. My good friend here, Mr. Savji, he speaks volumes of Uganda and he says it's even better than a Western country like Canada and America. So that's the level to which the development has happened. Education, I would say, is a key definer, a key indicator and a key ingredient for all developing nations and nations going on a development path. When I went through the profile of all the countries, Malawi, India has an export share of 11.62%. Namibia, rich in diamond, copper, a lot of minerals. Niger, again, a lot of minerals, oils. And India is importing a lot of food product from Africa. In fact, my friend was sharing with me today that a lot of lentils do come from Africa. Of course, handicrafts is another big industry that's dwelling. And again from India, Africa is a very important continent, and all countries in Africa, for the Indian products, we have names like Tata Motors, Mahindra, we have names like our very own from Punjab, Sonalika Tractors, and we also supply to them. Some names to mention who are doing very well, not only that they are Indian companies, but it's also the product quality and the service that they are offering. Like Upkarji said, in Punjabis, we have a DNA where customer service and entrepreneurship dwells. We really thrive on this because the background we came from as the nation was divided through very trying circumstances. So the entrepreneurship of Punjab and especially Ludhiana really dwelled because of these circumstances. In exports, of course, coming to Punjab and Ludhiana, for years Ludhiana has been exporting, I think, millions of bicycles, and we have people in audience from Avon Cycles, Nova Cycles, Safari, to name a few, who've exported millions of cycles and bicycle components, rickshaws, now of course it's e-rickshaws, textile, it's a big market, Africa as well, of course oil, and now we see the tractor and the agri-industry that is doing very well, and there's a lot of potential for this segment. We all know what the pandemic has taught us. Food, grocery became the most important things in our life. During the lockdown, there was only one thing we all were thinking about: when are we going to get our next grocery, or when are we going to get our next meal? So agriculture worldwide went to a different level. And again in Punjab, which is called the Manchester of India, we are feeding the entire population, as we call the rice bowl of the nation, and we are also exporting to so many nations, be it the Southeast Asian nations, even Europe, US, and of course Africa. Ludhiana, again, textiles, bicycles, agriculture products, food products as well. This town now is actually selling to global MNCs like Burger King, McDonald's. The burgers that these companies or franchises are using are manufactured around Ludhiana. And very interestingly, one of the ventures was started by a lady, and she also got recognized in the parliament very recently by the name of Mrs. Bector, and the brand is Cremicas. So just telling you, there's so much of diversity of business here, from engineering goods, machine tools, food products, agriculture products, bicycles, textiles. It's a huge basket and gambit. So with your visit today, you saw a lot that is happening here, a lot of latest technology that local manufacturers are offering, Industry 4.0, you saw machines talking to each other, and this is not something made in America. Like Upkarji said, this is make in India, make in Ludhiana. And that was just a showcase. Of course, you also had a very good interaction with students from Africa, from Gulzar group of institutes, who gave a little presentation on a robot. And that's another area, education. In most Punjab private universities, there's a very good population of African students. And I also know one university, PCTE, where the students who've graduated are also teaching the next batches of classes. So to sum it up, there is a lot of opportunity, and we want to take you to take all this back and also present to your commercial and marketing offices. And like Upkarji said, next exhibition next year, we hope to do a lot more, and we hope that you get a larger delegation. And we hope this networking and contacts that we made today actually develop into a long-term business relationship for your countries, and especially for the industry of Punjab and Ludhiana. And again, I would be failing in my duty. Dr. Amar Singh, we are very impressed with you, sir. Thank you so much for being here today. And you're an icon, and we get a lot of motivation from you. And we hope that we all stay safe and healthy, and we hope that we meet again. So thank you very much.
Thank you, J.S. Bhogalji. As rightly said, India is a hub of education tourism besides being medical tourism. Would like to quote 2-3 more data, 2-3 more figures. Annual India-Africa Trade Minister Dialogue was launched in 2011, sir, to discuss bilateral trade, which is an important step in enhancing business with India and Africa. Then India hosted annual meeting of African Development Bank, ADR, recently, which is paving way for enhancement of business and bilateral ties between the two countries, India and African continent. So we expect things to improve in the coming 5 years. So the figures are there, data are there, only the thirst and the focus is required. Now I'll request Mr. Amit Thapar, he is MD Ganga Acrylic, to share his views on India-Africa trade.
So, I actually had also prepared, I was expecting Mr. Anoop Shekhar to be here, but he's not been here. So, nevertheless, I touched upon 2 points here. So, respected Dr. Amar Singh, respected diplomats representing their great nations of Karji, I welcome you all. Niccolo Machiavelli, an Italian poet from 15th, 16th century once said, this he said for an entrepreneur, make mistake of ambition, not of sloth. His words are even more true today. With each passing year, we have a breakneck speed of the world, breakneck speed of business. So these words, by each passing day, are even more true. Yes, in 2020, world paused from its super speed. And each one of us actually enjoyed, even though the cause for that pause is sad and not desirable, but the effect of the pause initially was a bliss. First 2 weeks of lockdown was a family quality time which most of us happened to enjoy. But within the few weeks, while we realized that the world had stopped, business didn't. The first business apart from the food to pick up was exports. I remember when few of us got permission to run factories in the first week of April, it was purely based on exports. India was closed, imports were happening, exports were happening. And the first movement of the goods started from our state via the containers in and out. Sir, ma'am, I go back to my opening remarks. Make mistake of ambition, not of sloth. This is not just true for an entrepreneur or a businessman, but it is even true for the governments today. The fact that the government needs to be enterprising. They need to act fast and they need to act as entrepreneurs. Gone are the days when the decisions could sit on files for months, sometimes years together. Today, any government in the world cannot afford it. The one which is not reformed will be left behind and thereby causing huge loss to the nation and depriving their own people opportunity to prosper. Therefore, having realized this, all governments in the world are vying for the share of business and wanting the trade and business to flourish and grow. Sir, ma'am, I was pretty disturbed to see the data when I did some research on Google, the trade between our nations being such low. Lower than actually exports of one companies or few companies, leave alone India, but at Ludhiana level. I could get access to only 2019 data of Niger, Namibia and Malawi. This was shocking. Niger is less than $100 million. Namibia and Malawi is close to about $200 million. That is the kind of export we do. And if we look at imports, it is even shameful. The amount we import from these countries is less than $38–40 million, which is two companies of Ludhiana put together can import so much. Sir, ma'am, Punjab is the hotbed of Indian entrepreneurship, housing largest number of MSMEs in North India. The industry in state exports to almost all countries of the world. Though we lack in industrial infrastructure, our focal points and industrial areas cry for infra attention. This was actually to be told to industry secretary, but he's not here. So in the lighter vein, and even though our industrial infrastructure is not so great, but we entrepreneurs have our ways. Especially in monsoon, each of the factory owner has found his own way to reach the factory. So the level of entrepreneurship is unparalleled. Jokes apart, our infrastructure in other parts like power supply, national and state highways, industrial relations with workforce, and more importantly, proactive administration and offices to help is impeccable. To all my friends in the industry sitting here, please do explore Africa. Please do explore these nations. Do not just keep persuading US and Europe. Those are mature markets, you won't get margins, entry barriers are difficult. This, my friends in the cycle industry would agree that it is much easier to sell cycle or cycle parts in Africa as compared to Europe. Sir, basis of the export trade lays in the fact, this part again I'll skip, I'll just keep it brief for the audience because this was meant to be, again, it will be represented to Mr. Alok Shekhar, but this is an important issue, so this is concerning all of us. The basis of the export trade lays in the fact that we export our goods. All countries export their goods, not their taxes. Taxes are supposed to be collected from citizens and supposed to be spent on citizens. We in India, yes sir, this you can take up at the state level at the government. So we in India levy such taxes which are exported. To neutralize this and make our export incentives WTO compliant, Government of India has come up with the scheme of RODTEP, Remission of Duties and Taxes and Export Products. With effect from 1st of January, all export products, all HS codes will be covered in it rather than few proposed last year. This would neutralize the impact of duties and taxes we pay on fuel, electricity, mandi taxes, municipal taxes. Basically, any tax impacting the price of goods not covered by GST or customs is the purpose of to be neutralized by RODTEP. But all the exporters who have invested in Punjab and are availing incentives of the Punjab government like electricity duty, they will not be getting RODTEP. Now this is a very complex situation because each Punjab state's policy is a different electricity duty for the border districts. It has different electricity duty exemption for the districts like Ludhiana, and center is right that they cannot monitor it district wise. So we would request that the state government should make this, we would request that the state government should make this RODTEP compliant. So we have we'll give that representation later. I don't want to go into details of this. The French writer once said, the best couple relationship is between a blind wife and a deaf husband. It seems sitting in the comfort zones, bureaucracy and industry have had this kind of a relationship in the last century. In fact, industry in 70s and 80s and probably 90s used to say that the only thing which is saving us from the bureaucracy is bureaucracy's inefficiency. So bureaucracy's inefficiency actually saved us. But the things are changing. We don't want that kind of a relationship anymore. The things have changed. So this relationship best led to those couples. The government, as I earlier said, needs to be enterprising and they need to act as entrepreneurs. Hence the quick decision making is desirable. I would request all my friends in the industry, please do some research on Africa, especially Malawi, Namibia and Niger. In fact, Niger, as you would have noticed, has the same tricolor as ours. The flag is almost the same except for the central chakra. Malawi, I remember we used to have big trade before the lentils policy changed. The entire tur dal, arar ki dal, which we say used to come from Malawi before 2017. In fact, I remember our family used to import a lot in 90s. I thank you, sirs, for visiting our ancient land, gracing our city, which finds its mention in Greek mythology and the Greeks used to call it Pentopotamia. The stories of it's recorded in the stories of Aryans, who used to call them Sapsadava and the ancient Indian text. I would request Karji to take the delegations from Ludhiana once the world is COVID-free to these nations, and let's forge ahead this mutually beneficial relationship. Until then, please enjoy Punjabi hospitality. I would end by quoting an ancient African proverb: if you wish to go fast, go alone. If you wish to go far, go together. So let's go together. Thank you and shukriya.
Thank you, Amit. Your one-liners are always so welcome, so encouraging. Today is no different. You are popular for your insight into everything. I'll remember blind wife and deaf husband. I'll remember that. And so do the bureaucracy deficiency helped us. Quick decision making required. We will keep this in mind, and we are making a memorandum and minutes for the MP to take up at proper level. Dear friends, J.R. Singhal has to leave for another meeting, so I'll request him to share his ideas with us.
Excellencies from Malawi, from Namibia and Niger, Sardar Amar Singh, our representative in the Parliament and Member Parliament, Shri Ahuja and Shri Pankaj Sharma, and my friends, the membership sitting here from CICU. During pandemic, restarting business and manufacturing in Ludhiana was an extraordinary event. This is almost looking impossible. But CICU, with the office bearers in command of the situation under leadership of Shri Upkar Singh Ahuja, did a wonderful job, and their contribution in trying times cannot be forgotten in the near future. Every one of us has experienced this. He was on 24-hour service for all the industries. Learning from each other is another glorious activity of CICU. I appreciate it. And CII used to have this kind of a practice for the last many, many years, and this has been adopted here. And what I notice is that CICU is a bridge for the industry with state government and the central government. In this aspect, the advocacy by the CICU is very well understood by the state government, and the officials respect your point of view, and you are able to influence the policies for the interest of the membership. Excellencies, I want to bring it to your notice that your fellow citizens, they are in Punjab by way of that they are studying here. One local college, PCTE, and lovely professional universities. There are many of them. There are hundreds of them, and they can be your local ambassadors, and they can do the industry research because they have seen Punjab and they have seen the other part in your country, and that industry research can be very, very useful tool for the countries to become closer to each other, and the projects, small projects which can be very useful, that can happen in your countries. I know some of the students, they were very active and they came to our units, researched it, and they have put up some of the projects, particularly in Uganda and other countries. Those students turned entrepreneurs thereafter. I further desire to inform you that there is a business opportunity by way of that we in Ludhiana produce a lot of sludge in our electroplating plants, zinc plants, and other such polluting industries. Now, because of the industry-institute linkage, there is a possibility that the sludge can be used as construction material. And the bricks and the tiles, they have been tried, tested by DITER, Chandigarh. And the business opportunity is that waste is available in thousands of tons. And a patent has been already applied. And patent is likely to be approved. Once that happens, that will be a very, very great business opportunity for all of us. You can study it, you can research it, and then you can see how it can be worked out. With these words, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your piece of wisdom that you've shared with us. Your words are always very motivating and encouraging. Now, while we have the foreign dignitaries among us, so they would also like to share their views and give suggestions about how they plan to boost business among African countries and India. I'll request Mr. Oscar Sikanda, Commercial Consular, Embassy of Namibia, to come and share his ideas with us.
Good evening, my fellow diplomats and the high table. Good evening, all of you. My name is Oscar Sikanda. I'm a commercial counselor based in Delhi. My duty or my responsibilities are to between Namibia and India. So if you are looking to find a business partner in Namibia, I'm the person to speak to in the High Commission. I roughly just put together a few points here, but most of the things that have been already spoken about India-Africa relations, I'll just touch base on a few points as to do business in Africa. I know a lot of business Indian people that I have spoken to, they have not been to Africa. They know Africa on TV or what they read. But what I want to tell you is that Africa has moved, Africa have changed. Governments have put in place security, have improved ease of doing business. You might know that beginning of this year, in January, Africa launched the African Continental Free Trade, which will open up a market of 1.2 billion population. Of course, there are some, they're still working on some modalities on how that is going to unfold, but there are some efforts, starting from the regional organizations, the SADC, the ECOWAS, the East Africa. So all these, they already have frameworks that they are doing business. With that, Africa is going to be an integrated market. So for India, it's an opportunity to move to Africa, not only to trade, but also to set up business in Africa so that you are close to the market. My experience has been that shipping cost from India to Africa is very expensive, and it also, aids to the business cost. But if one could set up a business in Africa, you'll be close to the market. It might not necessarily need to be a full-fledged, even repackaging and distributing to the African continent. It will cut costs. I would want to speak about Namibia. I don't know how many people know about Namibia here. Namibia is a very quiet country, very peaceful country. You know, when you are very peaceful, people will not notice you. That's how Namibia is. It's a very democratic country. There's a rule of law, respect for the rule of law. In terms of the economy, Namibian economy is integrated with that of South Africa. Namibia was a colony of German first, so we have a lot of German-speaking people. And then later, South Africa took over. In 1990, Namibia got independence from South Africa. So our economy is very much integrated, and we use one currency. The South African rand, you can also use in Namibia. We are in the common monetary union. Namibia offers good incentives to business, both tax incentives and non-tax incentives. I want to draw your attention to, in terms of doing business in Namibia, the population is a little bit smaller, I must confirm. But Namibia is part of the SADC region with the population of 360 million population. We have a SADC free trade agreement within the member states. And there is, in some countries, tariffs have been reduced. So there is that reduction of the tariffs within the member states. And with Namibia is also a member of the CICU, which is Southern African Customs Union, which is composed of South Africa, Botswana, Lesotho, and Eswatini. Goods moves freely within these member states. So there's no custom. If you set up your business in Namibia or in Lesotho, there's no customs duties that will be paid, except the normal, the VAT that will be, that is imposed on the products which you'll pay in any of these countries. He has mentioned the trade statistics between Namibia and India, which is still very low, about 200,000. You are 200 million. I mean, 200,000, as you mentioned, that is very correct. It's very low. And we need to look to see how we increase that. In terms of imports, Namibia imports mostly agricultural machines, pharmaceutical products, food such as rice, millets. Basra is one of our staple food. Call it Basra, right? Basra, yes. In terms of exports, Namibia currently exports mineral products. Like it was mentioned, Namibia is a mineral economy. Mostly our revenue is derived from mineral, the diamonds, gold, uranium. Namibia is the fourth largest producer of uranium, and India is very much interested in importing uranium from Namibia. There's also gemstones that is imported, and also hides and skins. That is also among the items that are imported from Namibia. Currently, I mentioned about CICU. There is a negotiation, a free trade negotiation that is currently going on between CICU and India. So in the near future, I think the tariffs will be very, very low. I want also to introduce Namibia is one of the best destinations for tourism. For those who follow the news, you might know that a person called Angelina Jolie, she gave birth in Namibia. It's a very beautiful country. The safari, the dunes. It's the only country in the world that where you can see this, the dune meeting the sea at the coastal town of Walvis Bay. So you can look to that to see if you want to relax. The advantage is that in Namibia, when it's June here, when it's very hot, in Namibia it's winter. And it's not very cold winter. It's a mild winter. And in December, when it's very cold here, in Namibia it's summer. So you have a destination to go for holiday. And it's safe. I'll be finished now. So what are the scope of business with Namibia? Like I've mentioned, agriculture is number one, agro-processing. Namibia imports about 65 to 70% of food requirement, mainly from South Africa. Someone might ask why. It's because Namibia, like I mentioned, it was a fifth province of South Africa, so industry were not developed. So at the moment, government is putting up incentives to develop the agricultural sector. Machines for processing, it's also another area. Textile or fabric, we require that for uniforms of nurses, the school uniforms. Pharmaceutical, education, vocational, mostly vocational. Mineral beneficiation, stitching machines. So in short, Namibia is open for business. So whoever would want to explore business opportunities can get in touch with us in the embassy. There are also some trade fairs that takes place in Namibia. If you want to market your product, we can give guidance on that. Because it's only through marketing that you will get to, properly get clients of your products. So we are ready to receive you in Namibia. We will facilitate the visa, very easy. The time that we're sitting here, you get your visa, you walk from the embassy with your visa. It's a very free, there's no troubles when it comes to visa. So I invite you to do business with Namibia. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now our next speaker is Ms. Juliana Sombaganda, First Secretary High Commission of Malawi. Ma'am, you can speak from there also if you feel. Please go ahead.
Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, I noticed there are very few ladies around, which concerns me, I must say. We've come together, but I'm looking at the audience and I'm like, where are the women? Is it true that women are not participants in this economical world that we're in? I believe we have women sitting in the boards as well as in top management of your institutions. And if that's not the case, I want to take this opportunity to give you this chance to try women to be the ones to sit in these places, because women run the world, and that's just a fact. So on behalf of my country, Malawi, I am very happy to be here and to have had the opportunity to visit Punjab and specifically Ludhiana. And I must say I've had very great opportunity to see a lot of companies that were displaying this afternoon at the event center as well as at the exhibition. There was so much that I have learned myself. So with that, I must say that there has been a lot that I've seen that is happening within Ludhiana. I have been in India for 6 years, and I did not have the chance to actually appreciate Ludhiana. And I must say that this is the chance that I've had to say that there's so much going on in Punjab than I thought. And with that as well, I want to take this opportunity to invite you, the people, and I would like to call you the gurus in the manufacturing industry, to think of a country which is so beautiful in the entire world, and it's called Malawi. And I was happy to know that most of the companies have had already some dealings with Malawi, because Malawi actually imports a lot of bicycles and all the cycles from India, and that's also one of the bases of the relationship that India and Malawi had in terms of exports from India to Malawi. And yes, as it was alluded earlier, that we used to export a lot of parcels to India until some interventions which kind of like disrupted the market. But this is something that we're still working on to ensure that we continue feeding India, because we are one people and we feed on each other. We get bicycles, we get food, and our agriculture is booming and the industry is booming here. But one thing that we want now to take it further is to request the captains of the industry to also consider assembling in Malawi. Because, you know, the business is facing challenges simply because we have to pass through so many hurdles in terms of getting the final product to reach the final destination. So when we come to shipment, there's a lot. My country is landlocked, so which means we depend on the other countries that are closer to the sea, and maybe that might increase some transactional costs in terms of reaching, making sure that the final product gets to the final destination. But one thing that I would like to encourage you is to consider coming to Malawi and use Malawi as a hub. And one thing that I can say for a fact is that the labor cost, which is unparalleled and beaten with any other country in the world, is very cheap. Which means even if it might cost more to get the final product to Malawi, but when you consider that there's so much opportunity in terms of having the less labor cost involved in production, then it means it becomes a very competitive country to operate in. Otherwise, a lot has been said about Africa, a lot has been said about our business relationships, our cultural relationships, and exchanges that have been there. I just want to take this opportunity to thank you and to encourage you to continue to engage with us. I am here, I'm based at our embassy in Delhi. We can continue to collaborate. If there is something that you might require specifically from my country, I am here, we are there at the embassy in Delhi. We can continue to check it out from this moment. And with those few remarks, I want to say thank you for the great place and the great experience that I've had here in Punjab. And I look forward to coming back to Punjab and enjoy the Punjabi hospitality and the Punjabi food. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Her Excellency. We hope a lot of business transactions will happen. Your visit will be very fruitful. Now, I'll request Dr. Amar Singh Ji, Member of Parliament Fatehgarh Sahib, to share his views with us. And a lot of parts of Ludhiana, say some parts of Focal Point, Kohada, all falls under his constituency. And he's been nursing that area for the last couple of years. And we've been seeking his help all these days. And we expect that the today's session, out of today's session, he'll take the extract and discuss the issues in the Parliament. So please.
Good evening to all of you. The excellencies from various countries, Mr. Ricardo A. Berna, Ms. Juliana Somba Banda, Honorable Mr. Oscar Sikanda, and others, Upkar Singh Ji, the members of CICU, and all other industrialists from this area, Ludhiana and my parliamentary constituency. I'm very happy to be part of this interaction which is taking place in Ludhiana, where various representatives from other countries are here, the industrial leaders are here, the entrepreneurs are here, and you have organized their visits to the various units, you are showing everything. I mean, it's a most wonderful evening for me. I was going to, though one of the speakers were quite upset with the bureaucracy, but I have been part of bureaucracy. I'm a retired bureaucrat. I retired as Secretary Government of India. The Foreign Secretary, the Vijay Gokhale was my batchmate. So I have served in Government of India for about 10 years. So now I'm in politics, I'm member of Parliament, and that too People's House, elected by people. So I have the experience of both sides. I have your international experience also. I must have visited near about most of the countries of the world. I know international relations, I know national relations, I know I'm Punjabi by birth, so Punjab certainly I know what Punjabi is. So the address which the excellencies have given, I think this is the most wonderful thing I have heard from your mouth, that you welcome people from Punjab, you welcome the entrepreneur from Punjab. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to all of you. I know all of you. And I know you are the people. When this pandemic happened, Corona happened, when the country was under lockdown, whole of the country, India went into lockdown from 23rd March, and it was a complete lockdown. Everything was closed. But I think Ludhiana industry, you are the people, you are the champions. I must salute you people. That on 29th March, you gave in writing to Punjab government that we are ready to abide the coronavirus guidelines, but we want to open our units. I have to congratulate all of you for another thing. I don't know whether you must be knowing it because you did it. I'm in politics. I'm part of Punjab government. Now I'm part of the ruling system in Punjab. Ludhiana was the place where the skilled labor didn't leave Ludhiana. And you were the people who saw to it that they were given their emoluments. You gave them to feed. You took care of everything for them. That is why they didn't leave. That is why I want to congratulate you. It is a very big, it was a human service. You can say it was for your industry. I mean, this was the most wonderful thing. Otherwise, the migration, the level of migration which happened in our country, but you people didn't allow that thing to happen. So I have to appreciate it. I know Ludhiana from my childhood. I was born in this district. I was born in Boparai Kala, the village near Sudhar and Mullapur. I have been coming to Ludhiana, but in my service I couldn't come to because I got Madhya Pradesh cadre. Then last 10 years of my service was in Government of India in Delhi. But Nitwear people, are they here or have they left? They called me once when I was Joint Secretary in Government of India. It was a very nice experience. Now the main issue for you today is one, the cooperation with the African countries, and they have already given you the offer that we welcome you to invest in our countries. I know certain things what are happening in the industry all over the world. I know what's happening at the policy level at Government of India. But one thing I know, Ludhiana is today where it is because of the innovation which you have undertaken, whether it was hosiery, whether it was tool, machines, whatever you did, whether it was anything, you are the pioneers in the country and your name is there. Whenever I was part of Parliamentary Committee, Commerce and Industry, they would always ask me, the Secretary Industry and everybody, okay, sir, Ludhiana, how did Ludhiana they are outsmarting everybody in the country. I told them, it is Punjabi by nature. It is a Punjabi culture. You must understand, Punjabis are the most entrepreneurs. They are sitting in all the countries all over the world. Even in African countries, the Punjabis are sitting there. They are doing business, they are doing small things. Two things I want to say. One, all over the world, including Punjab, India, and Excellency, your countries, it is only the innovation which takes you ahead of others. Am I right? Innovation is a very small word. 6, 7 digits. It's not a very big. But it takes a lot of effort and imagination, and it needs a lot many things. What I want to talk to you is, let us make, you have already made so many innovations, let us make the innovation hub, Ludhiana as the innovation hub of the country, and then at the international level. I'm proposing it, but I'm proposing the second thing also. I know a lot of investment would be needed to create an innovation hub. I know it. Upkar Singh ji, I know it. It takes a lot of, it needs a lot of money. But I'm there as your representative, whether it is with Punjab government, whether it is with government of India. Most of the secretaries, excellencies, the present secretaries in government of India, most of them are my junior. They have served under me in various capacities. Most of them know me. So, I will take up your issues, whether at Punjab government or at Government of India, Ministry of Industry, Commerce, or even External Affairs. I will take up at every level, but I want that within next 2, 3 or 5 or 7 or 10 years, let Ludhiana become the innovation hub of this country. And the best exporter, you are already there. Whatever best can be done, that I'm there. What I'm trying to do in my parliamentary constituency is, you all know, the excellencies may not know, that the first thing which I undertook was to have one international airport at Halwara. You all know it. It is coming up. Excellencies, my constituency would host an international airport. This would be the middle of Punjab. So maybe 4, 5, 6 years down the lane, international flights would be coming in and flying from there. So your journey to Punjab won't be by road or by train. It would be very easy. I'm trying to do so many things. And you all industrialists know that the Delhi-Katara highway, which is 8-lane highway, which is coming up, I have ensured one thing, that Halwara is given a connection from that Delhi-Katara highway. So Ludhiana would automatically be connected. And the chairman National Highway was telling me that you will be reaching Delhi in 2 hours or maximum 2.5 hours. So your journey would be shortened, the carriage, the other things would be, everything would be efficient. So I have ensured that. And another highway which I am working on is from Ludhiana to Bathinda. You may have heard, if you have not heard, we are already undertaking that project from National Highway. From that is 6 lane. That is 6 lane. So what I am trying to do is, I am trying to create a very big infrastructure in my parliamentary constituency so that new investments come. I will welcome rather the investment from your countries also into my parliamentary constituency, and I will be your ambassador. I mean, whether in Government of India, whether with Punjab government or with these industrialists, because they are all my friends. They are part of my parliamentary constituency. So it has been a wonderful meeting with you all, friends, and Upkar Singh was telling me that some things have to be taken up with Government of India regarding some export incentive. Please give me the papers. If you can give me a presentation or papers, I will take it up with Government of India on your behalf. They all know that I take everything on your behalf. Rather, exhibition center I am hearing would be coming up soon. It would be very soon completed and then things would start moving. And it has been such a wonderful meeting with all of you. I'm really grateful you of Upkar Singh that you have called me here. I don't want to spoil your evening. I think we are already late for the dinner and other things. Politicians can go on speaking for hours together. That I don't want to. I don't want to upset you on that score. But most wonderful meeting. I'm at your service I'm your friend, I'm your member of parliament. Whatever job you think is coming up with Punjab government or government of India, I'm there to help you there. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Amar the grudges are not many. We are, in fact, we always claim that Punjab actually is a place of ease of doing business. In center, they claim that India, there are so many policies of ease of doing business, but Punjab is actually practicing it. Single window system, Punjab has started. There are not too many grudges. Couple of issues remain unresolved, and so for that we seek your help and cooperation, and we are quite hopeful you will take up those issues from time to time that we highlight and we bring it to your notice, and you will take up those in the parliament at the proper level with the Commerce Ministry, with the Finance Ministry, and those will be resolved also. Friends, before I request for the formal vote of thanks, there are certain pleasantries to be exchanged, certain mementos to be given to the dignitaries, to all my dear fellow friends that who have come over and spared their valuable time to be among us and share their views and thoughts with us. I'll request our steering committee members to please come forward and present a memento to Mr. Ricardo Bernaham. His Excellency is Deputy Chief of Mission Embassy of Panama. I will request him to be on the stage, and members can join on the stage only. Kari, please join them. I'll request Network Club members, Mr. Chiranjeev, Thapar Saab, is left. Mr. Balla from Jewel International, to please present memento to Her Excellency Ms. Juliana Somba Banda, First Secretary, High Commissioner of Malawi, and any other members of textiles if they are here. Audio, please. Network Club is always conspicuous by their absence, and they are always, finding it much more. They are busy people. They attend meetings very rarely. Sir, ma'am, can you please step near the stage, because on popular demand they all want dignitaries to come down. Please come, ma'am, in front of the stage. We have members from All India Machine Tools Manufacturers Association office bearers. Can they come forward to present a memento to Honorable Mr. Oscar Sikenda, Commercial Consular Embassy of Namibia. Sir, can you please come in front of the stage? All members are requested to please come, and ladies and gentlemen, please join your hands to applaud. This is the last leg of the event. Then may I request Swing Machine Parts Association, Mr. Dimple, his team to please come forward to present a memento to the esteemed guest, Mr. Suleiman Borima, Councillor Embassy of Niger. So please come. दोस्तों थोड़ा तालियों पे गौर करें. We are about to Thank you, sir. We also have among us Mrs. Fauzia Bakshi, spouse of Mr. Ricardo Ebana, to please come forward. Upkarji, Tilosa, please present memento to her, and the shawl also. Tilosa. Please wait for the memento. Thank you, ma'am. I will request O.P. Bassi ji, Rajneesh Oja ji to present a memento to Dr. Amar Singh ji, please. Sir, please come near the dais. हमारे लीगल सेक्रेटरी रजनीश बांसल जी, आशीष बांसल जी, प्लीज कम फॉरवर्ड. एंड मेजर सिंह जी हैं जयपुर से, ही वाज हियर. सर प्लीज आओ, प्लीज कम नियर द डाइस. बांसल जी, प्लीज वेट. नेक्स्ट प्लीज. Thank you, ji. I'll request Kamil Amar Singh ji to please come and receive memento from Bansal Sahab, Ashish Bansal ji, Major Singh ji, and Dr. Bansal. दोस्तों जोरदार तालियां. Bansal ji, Ashish ji, they have been looking after the guests for the last so many days. They are so busy. They spend so much of time looking after them. Thank you, Bansal ji. Last but not the least, we have among us G.S. Dhillon ji, जिन्होंने सारा शो ऑर्गेनाइज किया है. तो मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा उपकार जी को कि इनको मोमेंटो प्रेजेंट करें, एंड आई ऑल्सो वुड लाइक टू ज्वाइन हिम. दोस्तों बस थोड़ा 2-4 मिनट का काम हो रहा है जी. Please occupy your seats. I will request Rajneesh Oojha ji to present formal vote of thanks. Please be with us for a few more minutes. I will request everybody to please occupy the seats for a few more minutes.
All excellencies from African countries, we are more delighted to have your presence here and encourage with your motivation after seeing Ludhiana being the Manchester of India, a growing and innovative state. That's how I would say Ludhiana is not only for innovation, it is the attitude of the Punjabis, the attitude of the industrialists here. And excellencies, you must be proud that we are exporting to your all countries as auto parts. So as you have invited us, and Mr. Amit Thapar and Mr. J.S. Dhillon, Bogle, said your countries are good for export from India, especially from Punjab and Ludhiana. As I have the opportunity to export in your country, and I am sure many more will be aspirants to export in your, because your country has a great volume because of your requirements in automobile and other sector also, as you have said, agriculture implements. As Dr. Amar Singh, we are also thankful to him because he is the pillar and he is the connection between industry and government, as he has assured us to do and complete the deficiencies which industry and government, and I am sure that's all with your interference and with your efforts, industry from Ludhiana will have further good steps to improve. I must thank all the industries and especially CICU, Mr. Upkar Singh and Pankaj ji, and the steering committee also. I would not forget to thank the media, who is the voice of industry, and I am sure I won't take time between your dinner and this delegation session also, and I would invite all the excellencies, and as you have said that you know the food of India and especially Punjabi food, and food is ready for all, let us join it. Thank you very much.
I request you to please wait for a last presentation left. Amarjit Tikka ji, please come for a moment. Avtar Singh Bogle ji, Ball King se aaye hain, please come. We also been joined by Ashwin Nagpal. Nagpal ji, please come. Present a memento to Amarjit Tikka ji. Thank you, sir. With this, we come to the end of today's meeting. I'll request you all to please join for dinner. Thank you, one and all.